This is a brand new Specialized Aethos, the lightest road bike the US company has ever made, with this actual bike weighing just 6 kilograms, thanks to a frame that weighs 585 grams for a size 56. So in this video, go through all the details on this lovely looking bike and share my first ride impressions for you as well. So make sure you watch the rest of the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But all that said, let's dive in. For years, Specialized has been focused on racing and meeting the demands of its pro teams and race-hungry cyclists with the Tarmac and the Venge, bikes all influenced by race feedback, all aero-optimized. This bike is not that. They started with a brief, what is ride quality and how do we offer the best ride quality? And their search over many years and involving some quite high-tech computer simulations led them to the new Aethos. So more than just a new model, it's a new category of bike. A bike not defined by racing and KOMs and Strava and power meters, but by ride quality. So it's a bike not for racing because the company has the Tarmac, which is their race bike, an aero-influenced race bike. So if you're racing or you just want that fastest experience on a road bike, the Tarmac is a bike for you. This bike isn't for racing. It's not a bike for pinning a number on and smashing around your local crit circuit. It's a bike for the sheer pleasure of riding a bike, but for the person who still wants that high-end performance, wants all the best technology, but isn't racing, wants the perfect ride quality, so they can finish a ride having had a good experience and a good enjoyment on the bike and with a smile on their face. Another big departure from Specialized is the lack of branding on the bike. Normally you have a big Specialized or S-Works logo on the down tube, but instead you don't have that here. There's a small logo on the top tube, one on the down tube, but apart from that, it's a naked, bare carbon frame with the thinnest layers of paint. You can see the carbon in key places around the junctions, a very thin layer of paint, a nice selection of colours which are all very muted and subdued, and that really taps into this modern rider who doesn't want to be a rolling billboard for a pro team or a company that makes tiles that they've never heard of before. So very pared back bike to match many of the clothing brands that are now offering suitably pared back kind of colorways and designs. So more lifestyle and more freedom to express your personality through the bike, the color and your kit you're wearing. So yeah, I think they've done a really nice job. And you have to look at this bike in the flesh if you get a chance, because the way the paint glimmers in certain places and you see the carbon weave, it's really quite spectacular. A really beautiful frame up close. The frame does look quite conventional, quite traditional, but underneath this fairly simple exterior lies a very high-tech, cutting-edge carbon fiber frame that is a result of years of development and some fairly high-tech computer simulations to achieve a frame that is a claimed 585 grams for a size 56, which is lighter than most other mainstream brands are offering, like Canyon, Cervelo, Trek, and so on. So very lightweight frame, but has a high stiffness level to ensure it's not a flexy noodle when you're descending or putting the power down through the cranks. So they managed to achieve that low weight, but also managed to maintain a high level of stiffness, so it's going to be a bike that inspires confidence on the descent. Now in the past, I have ridden some very lightweight bikes and they've been fantastic when you're going up, but as soon as you're going down, they can feel pretty nervous, pretty skittish, because the bike is just flexing around underneath you. And also when you're sprinting out of the saddle, they can feel flexy, get some brake rub with rim brakes, but this bike is none of those things. This bike weighs 6 kilograms for a size 56 with a Shimano Dura-Ace DIT group set, hydraulic disc brakes and new Roval Alpinist wheels. There is a founders edition limited to just 300 bikes, which weighs 5.9 kilograms with a new Roval one-piece carbon handlebar and stem and a fancy paint job. There's also SRAM builds, and there'll probably be more affordable bikes in the pipeline in the future. And it's a very understated, very simple frame design. I mean, simple is being unfair really, it's a lot of complex science that go into frame. But in terms of quite simple round tubes, very skinny rear stays that aren't dropped, got a nice skinny fork, internal cable routing, but don't have an internal cable routing solution at the front, but that offers easier maintenance. And it's not an aero bike, so it doesn't have to worry about drag. We've got through axles, hydraulic disc brakes, a very neat adapter on the front to give it nice clean looks. And we've got space for 32mm wide tyres with 26 fitted as standard. So 32mm tyres on a bike like this offers up exciting opportunities to really dial up the comfort on this bike. Although based on my first ride today, the comfort on this bike with 75 PSI in the tyres is pretty spectacular, it has to be said. And then we got a brand new Roval Alpinist seat post, which definitely contributes to the comfort. Nice external seat clamp, I mean that is really nice. I know internal seat clamps are really popular, but you can't beat the simplicity of an external seat clamp. And I think what is really exciting about this bike is finally we have a disc brake bike with space for wide tyres that has no weight penalty compared to a rim brake bike. So a 6 kilo bike with a fairly standard build, it has to be said, no high end and expensive carbon wheels, Dura-Ace Di2, but nothing fancy and bespoke and exotic like you used to get in the past. So all very reliable, got a threaded external bottom bracket, external seat clamp, conventional cable routing because it's not an aero bike, so you've got nice, simple, easy maintenance in terms of cables, normal handlebar and stem. So all fairly normal, but also very, very light. Those were tech details on the new Specialized Aethos then. But what's it like to ride, Dave, you're wondering? Well, I'll be riding this very bike today. Done a 40km ride with some climbs, descents, sprints, corners to put it through its paces. Not the most in-depth ride, I will hasten to add, but hopefully I'll be getting my hands on this bike for a longer term test very soon. But for now, here are my first ride impressions. Sensational, breathtaking, electrifying, outstanding. Not words I use often in bike reviews and not words I use lightly, but this new Aethos is truly deserving of such accolades. Okay, it's based on just one ride, but first impressions are always powerful indicators with new bikes. The lack of weight is something you notice straight away, from lifting it up in a car park to pedalling up hills or just moving away from junctions. It climbs with ease and gathers momentum with very little effort. Yes, it feels fleet and agile, but it doesn't feel nervous or delicate when you push it hard into a corner or rattle across some potholes. It's compliant, offers a high level of engagement and is a thrilling bike to ride at speed. Let it off the leash on a descent and it is fast, inspiring confidence to let the speed really ramp up. Where light bikes can feel delicate and compromised, the Aethos feels solid and reassuring. Composure over rough roads is very controlled, with good grip from the S-Works tyres and some feedback through the contact points, but never enough to ruin the smooth ride quality. Ride quality was a goal with this new bike, and it's a difficult thing to judge, but based on my first ride, they succeeded in creating a very high quality ride experience, and a ride quality that isn't troubled by rough roads. Sure, the low weight grabs your attention, but as the miles roll by, it's a smoothness, refinement, steering and control that really stand out with this bike. While it carries a hefty price tag and the high-end build is very indulgent, it's an impressive feat of engineering and the ride quality is first class. The lack of weight makes the ride experience so much more satisfying. Bringing this experience to a more affordable price point will be an exciting prospect. So it is a stunning looking bike. Ultra modern, but also quite conservative in its looks with a very traditional frame design that really bucks the trend in this aero influenced world we currently live in. I think it's clearly a bike that many people will get, but also many people will not get. Many people who are into racing won't get this bike at all. They want the tarmac for racing. But if you love riding and you don't go racing, but you still want a lightweight, stiff, highly responsive bike that can offer a good ride quality, then this bike will deliver that. And based on my first experience riding this bike today, it definitely delivers a stunning ride. I've only had a 40km ride on the bike, but the ride has blown me away. Now, first impressions are always very powerful with a new bike, and my first impression on this bike are just that it offers stunning speed. It builds up speed really quickly, acceleration is phenomenal. In fact, you have to recalibrate your inputs, your sensors, because you build up speed so quickly. So that has been my first ride on this stunning new bike. Now I'm sure you've got quite a few questions, so make sure you get down in the comment section below and ask away, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll put all the details for this bike in the description down below, so you can check it out in your market for prices and other spec options as well. But that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed watching the video, and if you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram if you don't already, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for watching.